Of course, Albo, you may have heard this, won the election. You may have also heard that he came from a council flat in Camperdown. He doesn't live in it anymore. He's got multiple properties, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Today, of course, was one of many victory laps that have happened since the election a couple of weeks ago. And he says, don't waste a day in power.
I want to remind you that you shouldn't waste a day in government. We don't intend to.
Well, if there's one thing that I've told you about Albo, this is a bloke who doesn't walk the talk. Now, of course, you're entitled to a victory lap after an election, but this one has gone on forever. Remember, it was Saturday of last week where it was pretty obvious that they were not just going to become the government, but anyone who was serious knew that they would end up getting to 76, 77, most likely. But the victory lap continued, of course, once he eventually made it to Canberra, was sworn in a couple of days later, and the great change was the flags that were behind him. Oh, historic, right? Then, of course, he went off overseas. But then the victory laps continued. One in Bennelong. Then there was another victory lap that had to take place in Marrickville, just in case he needed to double-check that he was still popular in the inner west. Today was the first time all the Labor MPs, new and old, got together, so there was another victory lap today. OK, we get it. You won the freaking election, OK? But already, before they've even put the ministry in place, get ready. I deserve 2 victory laps.
I'll start now and you'll get used to hearing it. I spoke about back-to-back premierships. I spoke about 2 elections. I said I had 2 dates in mind. One, election date of May 21, but secondly as well, where we would be positioned in 2025, because the way that you really change the country, is to entrench reforms, and to do that you need a long-term Labor government.
OK, getting slightly ahead of yourself. Now, I remember after the last election, I've never told this story, after the last election we had the opportunity to have the first interview with the freshly re-elected Scott Morrison. And I remember him looking at an electoral map with a whole bunch of things that were circled that were seats that weren't already Liberal or National seats. These were the plan for the next 3 years. Well, of course, just after you've won, you think you can win forever. Reality is, you can't. Who knows what happens in 3 years' time? Who knows where the economy is? Did you get a pay rise? Did they fix childcare? Did the cost of living actually go down, or did they just give more money to help you pay for it? These are the tests that'll be there, and who knows where they'll be in 3 years. Yes, they could be in a way stronger position and win even more seats, but already banking on a second term while you're in the middle of a victory lap, well, it's just a bit wanky. And if nothing else, Albanese has been able to get there by not being that guy. But of course, now he's in charge, so he's that guy.